First Contact and Cultural Misunderstandings. The gleaming spires of New Terra City pierced the amber sky, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Dr. Ilara Chen stood at the viewport of her lab, her dark eyes scanning the bustling skyways where humans and aliens alike zipped between buildings and sleek hovercars. It had been 50 years since first contact, and the integration of multiple species into Earth's society still fascinated her. A chime from her comm unit broke her reverie. "Dr. Chen, your 2 o'clock is here," her AI assistant announced. "Send them in, Araya," Ilara replied, smoothing her lab coat and turning to face the door. It slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a tall, willowy figure. Ambassador Zix Adel of the Luminary stepped into the lab, bioluminescent patterns rippling across their iridescent skin in what Ilara had learned was a greeting display. "Ambassador, welcome to Exocultural Research Division," Ilara said, bowing slightly. "I'm Dr. Chen, lead xenoanthropologist." Zixetel's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, tendrils around their mouth quivering. "Greetings, Dr. Chen. Your reputation precedes you. I am eager to discuss the difficulties our peoples have been experiencing." Ilara gestured to a seating area designed to accommodate various alien physiologies. "Please, make yourself comfortable. Would you like a refreshment? We have synthesized nectars that should be compatible with luminary biology." The ambassadors settled onto a conforming chair, their long limbs folding gracefully. "That would be most appreciated, thank you." As Ilara prepared the drinks, she couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement. The Luminary were one of the most enigmatic species humanity had encountered, and tensions had been growing due to a series of misunderstandings. Her work could be crucial in preventing a diplomatic crisis. "Here you are," she said, offering a glowing blue liquid in a specially designed container. "Now, perhaps you could elaborate on these difficulties." Zixetel's skin dimmed slightly, a sign Ilara interpreted as concern. "It is delicate. Our youth are becoming increasingly fascinated with human culture. This fascination has led to inappropriate interactions." Ilara leaned forward, her scientific curiosity piqued. "Inappropriate in what way?" "There have been attempts at intimate relations between our species," Zixetel said, their voice dropping to a whisper. "It is causing great distress among our elders." Ilara's eyebrows shot up. Interspecies relationships weren't unheard of, but with the Luminary, their biology was so different, she couldn't imagine how it would even work. "I see," she said carefully. "And what specific issues have arisen from these attempts?" Zixetel's skin flushed a deep purple. "There have been injuries, misunderstandings about anatomy and practices. One incident involved a human attempting to use a device meant for waste extraction as a gift of affection." Ilara choked on her tea, barely managing to maintain her composure. "That's certainly an unfortunate misunderstanding. Have there been any successful interactions?" "There have been some compatible pairings," Zixetel admitted, "but the cultural divide remains vast. We need your expertise to develop guidelines, to prevent further incidents and foster healthier interactions." Ilara nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "I'd be happy to help. We'll need to conduct interviews, perhaps set up focus groups with willing participants from both species. Of course, all with the utmost respect for privacy and cultural sensitivities." As they discussed the details, Ilara couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. This was why she had become a xenoanthropologist, to bridge the gap between worlds, to foster understanding where there was confusion and conflict. Their meeting concluded with a tentative plan in place. As Zixetel prepared to leave, they paused at the door. "Dr. Chen, there is one more thing. A personal matter, if I may." "Of course, Ambassador. What is it?" Zixetel's skin rippled with patterns Ilara had never seen before. "I have a friend. They are quite taken with a human colleague. Would it be possible to arrange a private consultation?" Ilara smiled warmly. "Absolutely. Love, in all its forms, is a beautiful thing. We'll find a way to make it work." As the ambassador left, Ilara turned back to her viewport, gazing out at the city where humans and aliens coexisted. She had a feeling her work was about to get a lot more interesting, and potentially a lot more complicated. Little did she know, her own heart was about to lead her into the very cultural minefield she was trying to navigate. The human's ingenious solution. Weeks had passed since Dr. Ilara Chen's meeting with Ambassador Zixitl, and her lab had become a hive of activity. Interviews, focus groups, and cultural exchange workshops filled her days, but it was the evenings that truly captivated her imagination. Ilara found herself spending more and more time with Caxlin, a junior diplomat from the Luminary Embassy. What had started as professional consultations had blossomed into something more, a connection that defied the very cultural barriers they were trying to overcome. On this particular evening, they sat in Ilara's apartment, the cityscape of New Terra twinkling beyond the windows. Caxlin's skin shimmered with patterns of blue and gold, a display Ilara had come to recognize as excitement and affection. "Your work is truly fascinating, Ilara," Caxlin said, their melodious voice sending shivers down Ilara's spine. "The way you've mapped the neurological responses of both species during various interactions, it's revolutionary." Ilara felt a blush creep across her cheeks. "It's all in the name of fostering understanding. But I have to admit, our own interactions have been equally enlightening." Caxlin's tendrils quivered in what Ilara now knew was laughter. "Indeed, though I fear we may be venturing into uncharted territory." The implication hung in the air between them. Their relationship had been building towards something more intimate, but the complexities of their different biologies presented a daunting challenge. Ilara took a deep breath. "I've been working on something," she said, her voice a mix of excitement and nervousness. "A solution of sorts." She stood and retrieved a small device from her workstation. It looked like a sleek, metallic bracelet. "This is a bioadaptive interface. It's designed to interpret and translate biochemical signals between our species." Caxlin's 4 eyes widened in surprise. "You created this for us?" Ilara nodded. "It's not just about physical compatibility. It's about truly understanding each other's needs and responses. This device can help bridge that gap." As she explained the intricacies of the device, Caxlin listened intently, their skin flickering with patterns of curiosity and admiration. When Ilara finished, there was a moment of silence. "Ilara," Caxlin said softly, "this is incredible. But are you sure it's safe?" "I've run countless simulations," Ilara assured them. "And I've tested it on myself with luminary biochemical samples. It's as safe as I can make it." Caxlin reached out, their long fingers gently tracing the device. "Then, shall we try it?" Heart pounding, Ilara slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. It hummed to life, a soft blue glow emanating from its surface. Slowly, she reached out to touch Caxlin's arm. The sensation was unlike anything she had ever experienced. She could feel Caxlin's emotions as if they were her own, a swirling mix of excitement, affection, and a touch of nervousness that mirrored her own feelings. "It's beautiful," Caxlin whispered, their skin pulsing with vibrant colors. What happened next was a dance of discovery, a careful exploration of touch and sensation, guided by the bracelet's translations. It was awkward at times, punctuated by laughter and gentle corrections, but it was also profoundly intimate in a way that transcended physical differences. As they lay together afterward, basking in the afterglow of their encounter, Ilara felt a sense of triumph. They had crossed a bridge that many thought impossible. But their victory was short-lived. A urgent chime from Ilara's comm unit shattered the peaceful moment. It was Aria, her AI assistant. "Dr. Chen, I apologize for the interruption, but there's been an incident at the Luminary Embassy. They're requesting your immediate presence." Ilara sat up, alarm coursing through her. "What kind of incident?" Aria's voice was grave. "A human luminary interaction has gone catastrophically wrong. There are injuries, Dr. Chen, and accusations of deliberate harm. The blood drained from Ilara's face. She looked at Caxlin, whose skin had gone pale with shock. "I'll be right there," Ilara said, already moving to get dressed. As they rushed to the embassy, Ilara's mind raced. Had their own actions somehow precipitated this? Was her device to blame? The weight of responsibility settled heavily on her shoulders. Little did she know, the true test of her ingenuity, and of the fledgling relationship between humans and Luminary, was yet to come. Alien retaliation and human resilience. The Luminary embassy was in chaos when Ilara and Caxlin arrived. Security drones buzzed overhead, their lights casting eerie shadows across the ornate facade. Inside, a cacophony of alien and human voices filled the air. Ambassador Zixedel met them at the entrance, their skin a turbulent storm of dark colors. "Dr. Chen, thank the stars you're here. It's a disaster." Ilara's heart raced as they were led to a sealed medical bay. Through the transparent walls, she could see a human male writhing in pain, his skin covered in angry, pulsating welts. Beside him, a Luminary lay unconscious, their normally vibrant skin dull and lifeless. "What happened?" Ilara asked, her scientific mind already cataloging symptoms and possible causes. Zixedel's voice was heavy with distress. "They were intimate. The human used some sort of device, claiming it would enhance the experience. Instead, it caused a severe allergic reaction in both of them." Ilara felt the blood drain from her face. A device. Could it be? "I need to examine them," she said, pushing aside her personal fears. "And I need access to the device they used." As Ilara donned protective gear and entered the medical bay, she could feel the weight of accusatory stares from the Luminary staff. The tension in the air was palpable, years of carefully built trust threatening to unravel in a single night. Hours passed as Ilara worked tirelessly, analyzing samples and poring over data. The device, as she had feared, was a crude imitation of her own design. Someone had attempted to replicate her work without understanding the intricate biochemical balances involved. As dawn broke over New Terra City, Ilara emerged from the lab, exhausted but determined. She faced a room full of anxious faces, both human and Luminary. "I've stabilized both patients," she announced. The device they used was an unauthorized attempt to bridge our physiologies. It was well-intentioned but deeply flawed. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Ambassador Zixedel stepped forward, their skin flickering with a mix of relief and anger. "Dr. Chen, while we appreciate your efforts, this incident cannot go unanswered. The Luminary High Council is demanding that all research into human-Luminary relations be halted immediately. They're even considering severing diplomatic ties." Ilara felt her world tilt. Everything she had worked for, the progress they had made, was on the verge of collapse. But as she looked around the room, seeing the fear and uncertainty in both human and Luminary eyes, she felt a surge of determination. "No," she said, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "We can't let fear drive us apart. This incident, tragic as it is, proves how vital our work is. We need more understanding, not less." She turned to face the Luminary delegation directly. "Your people value progress and discovery above all else. Would you really abandon that because of one setback? Humans have faced countless challenges in our history, and we've overcome them through persistence and innovation. Let us show you that spirit now." Ilara's words hung in the air, and for a moment, she feared she had overstepped. But then, slowly, she saw colors of consideration ripple across the Luminary skin. Caxlin stepped forward, their voice trembling slightly. "She's right. I've worked closely with Dr. Chen. Her dedication to safety and mutual understanding is unparalleled. We cannot let this incident undo years of progress." Ambassador Zixedel's eyes narrowed, considering. "What do you propose, Dr. Chen?" Ilara took a deep breath. "Give me 1 week. Let me show you that safe, meaningful interaction between our species is possible. If I can't convince you, I'll personally recommend that the project be shut down." The room erupted in whispers and flashing skin patterns. Six Subtle raised a hand, silencing the crowd. "Very well, Dr. Chen. 1 week. But be warned, the eyes of both our worlds will be upon you. The stakes could not be higher." As the crowd dispersed, Ilara felt the weight of her promise settle on her shoulders. She had bought them time, but now she had to deliver on her bold claims. Caxlin approached her, their skin a swirl of concern and admiration. "That was incredibly brave, Ilara. But how can we possibly prove our case in just 1 week?" Ilara managed a tired smile. "With a little human ingenuity and a lot of luminary wisdom, we're going to need every brilliant mind we can get." As they left the embassy, the first rays of sunlight breaking over the city, Ilara's mind was already racing with ideas. She had stared into the abyss of interstellar conflict and refused to blink. Now she had to prove that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just its resilience, but its capacity for understanding and growth. The clock was ticking, and the future of 2 species hung in the balance. Unexpected alliance and shared discovery. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Ilara's lab became a crucible of innovation, with human and luminary scientists working side by side in a race against time. The air crackled with a mixture of tension and excitement as ideas were exchanged, theories tested, and breakthroughs celebrated. Ilara stood at the center of it all, her eyes bleary from lack of sleep, but burning with determination. She moved from station to station, offering guidance, asking probing questions, and pushing everyone to think beyond the boundaries of their respective sciences. On the 3rd day, as she was poring over a holographic model of luminary neural pathways, a commotion at the lab entrance caught her attention. She looked up to see a familiar face she hadn't expected. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her old mentor and sometimes rival. "Yuki," Ilara said, surprise evident in her voice. "What are you doing here?" The older scientist strode into the lab, her eyes taking in the controlled chaos around her. "Did you really think I'd sit this one out, Ilara? The fate of interspecies relations hanging in the balance, and my best student at the center of it all. I caught the first shuttle from Mars when I heard." Ilara felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. Yuki's brilliance was unquestionable, but her methods could be unorthodox. "I appreciate the support, but we're on a tight deadline here. We can't afford any distractions." Yuki finished for her, a mischievous glint in her eye. "My dear, what you need is a paradigm shift. You're so focused on bridging the gap that you're missing the bigger picture." Before Ilara could respond, Caxlin approached, their skin shimmering with curiosity. "Dr. Chen, who is this?" Introductions were made, and soon Yuki was deep in conversation with the luminary scientists, her hands moving animatedly as she spoke. Ilara watched with a mixture of amazement and concern as her mentor's unconventional ideas began to take root. As the day wore on, Ilara found herself drawn into Yuki's intellectual orbit. The older scientist's approach was radical. Instead of trying to make humans and luminary compatible, she proposed creating an entirely new interface, a sort of third biology that could serve as a bridge between the 2 species. "Think about it," Yuki explained, her eyes alight with excitement. "A synthetic organism, part biological, part technological. It could adapt to both human and luminary physiologies, facilitating communication and intimate interactions on a level we've never dreamed of." The idea was met with skepticism at first, but as Yuki laid out her theories, supported by decades of research in xenobiology, even the most doubtful began to see the potential. Ilara felt a spark of hope ignite in her chest. This could be the breakthrough they needed. But as she looked at the clock, her heart sank. They had less than 3 days left, and creating a new form of life, even a synthetic one, was no small feat. It was Caxlin who provided the final piece of the puzzle. As the team debated the practical challenges of Yuki's proposal, The young luminary diplomat spoke up, their voice soft but clear. "What if we don't need to create this organism from scratch?" Caxlin suggested. "There's a species on our homeworld, a type of symbiotic fungus. It's known for its remarkable adaptive capabilities." The lab erupted into a flurry of activity as Caxlin's idea took hold. Holographic models were updated, simulations were run, and within hours, a new plan began to take shape. They would use the luminary fungus as a base, modifying it with a combination of Earth biotechnology and luminary bioluminescent techniques. The result would be a living interface, capable of adapting to both species and facilitating safe, meaningful interactions. As the team worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life, Ilara felt a renewed sense of purpose. This wasn't just about saving her career or preventing a diplomatic crisis. They were on the verge of creating something truly revolutionary, a symbol of what could be achieved when different species came together. The hours blurred into days as they raced against the clock. There were setbacks, promising prototypes that failed, moments of doubt and frustration. But each time, the team rallied, human determination complementing luminary insight in a beautiful dance of collaboration. Finally, with just hours to spare before their deadline, they had a working prototype. The biointerface, which they had dubbed Nexus, pulsed with a soft, otherworldly light. It was beautiful, a perfect blend of human and luminary science. As Ilara prepared to present their creation to Ambassador Zixitl and the Joint Human Luminary Committee, she felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They had done the impossible, but would it be enough? Caxlin approached her, their skin glowing with a warmth that needed no translation. "Whatever happens, Ilara, know that you've already changed the course of history. You've shown us what's possible when we truly work together." Ilara smiled, drawing strength from Caxlin's words. As they walked towards the presentation chamber, she straightened her shoulders. They had created something beautiful, born of crisis but shaped by hope. Now, it was time to show the universe what humanity, and its alien allies, were truly capable of. The doors to the chamber opened, and Ilara stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next. Triumph of cooperation and mutual understanding. The presentation chamber was a sea of tension as Ilara stood before the assembled dignitaries. Human officials sat alongside their luminary counterparts, an array of eyes, both human and alien, fixed upon her. At the center, Ambassador Zixitl's skin rippled with barely contained anticipation. Ilara took a deep breath, steeling herself. "Distinguished representatives of Earth and Luminara, I stand before you today, not just as a scientist, but as a bridge between our worlds. The incident that brought us here was tragic, but it has led us to a breakthrough that could reshape the future of interspecies relations." With a gesture, she activated the holographic display. The image of Nexus, their biointerface, materialized in the center of the room, pulsing with gentle light. "I present to you Nexus," Ilara continued, her voice growing stronger. "A living interface born from the best of both our worlds. It's not just a tool for communication or physical compatibility. It's a symbol of what we can achieve when we combine our knowledge and overcome our differences." As Ilara explained the intricacies of Nexus, she could see the skepticism in some eyes slowly give way to wonder. Even the most hardened officials leaned forward, captivated by the potential of what they were witnessing. "But Nexus is more than just a scientific marvel," Ilara said, her gaze sweeping the room. "It's proof that our species can not only coexist, but flourish together. In creating this, we've discovered new principles of biology that could revolutionize medicine for both our kinds. We've pushed the boundaries of what we thought possible, and in doing so, we've grown not just in knowledge, but in understanding." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The easy path would be to retreat into our separate worlds, to let fear and misunderstanding drive us apart. But I ask you, is that the legacy we want to leave for future generations, Or do we dare to embrace a future where our differences become our greatest strength? As Ilara concluded her presentation, the room fell into a hushed silence. She held her breath, waiting for the response that would determine the fate of everything they had worked for. It was Ambassador Zixetl who broke the silence. Their skin bloomed with colors Ilara had never seen before, a complex tapestry of emotion that the entire room could feel. "Dr. Chen," the ambassador began, their voice resonating with a depth of feeling that transcended species. "When we tasked you with this challenge, we expected a solution. What you have given us is a vision of a future we had not dared to imagine." The ambassador turned to address the entire assembly. "My fellow luminary, esteemed humans, I propose that we not only accept this remarkable achievement, but that we use it as a foundation to build a new era of cooperation between our peoples." A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Human officials conferred in hushed tones, while luminary skin flickered with rapid communications. Ilara felt her heart pounding, hardly daring to hope. Then, one by one, officials from both sides began to voice their agreement. What had started as a potential diplomatic crisis had transformed into an unprecedented opportunity for collaboration. As the meeting concluded, with plans already being made for joint research initiatives and cultural exchange programs, Ilara felt a wave of relief and joy wash over her. They had done it. They had not only averted disaster but paved the way for a brighter future. Caxlin approached her, their skin aglow with pride and affection. "You did it, Ilara. You showed them all what's possible." Ilara smiled, taking Caxlin's hand in hers. "We did it," she corrected. "All of us, together." As they left the chamber, stepping out into the vibrant city where humans and aliens walked side by side, Ilara felt a profound sense of hope. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, and obstacles to overcome. But they had proven that with patience, creativity, and an unwavering commitment to understanding, there was no barrier that could not be bridged. In the days that followed, news of Nexus spread across Earth and to the stars beyond. It became a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of cooperation and the indomitable spirit of both humanity and their new allies. Ilara found herself at the center of it all, not just as a scientist, but as a diplomat, a teacher, and a visionary. She and Caxlin became the faces of this new era, their relationship the living example of what was possible. As she stood on the balcony of the newly established Interspecies Relations Institute, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that reminded her of luminary skin patterns, Ilara reflected on the journey that had brought them here. It had started with a misunderstanding, a moment of cultural confusion that could have torn their worlds apart. Instead, it had become the catalyst for a new age of exploration and unity. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge, and, true to form, had not only survived but thrived, extending a hand of friendship across the cosmos. The stars twinkled above, no longer distant and unreachable, but full of promise and potential. As Caxlin joined her, their biosignatures harmonizing through their shared Nexus interface, Ilara knew that this was just the beginning. Together, they would write the next chapter in the grand cosmic story, a tale of two worlds, once separated by an unfathomable gulf, now united in their quest for knowledge, understanding, and a future brighter than either could have imagined alone.